got bored, so here I am talking to myself and the internet. Um, I was working on this project today, and I started using a lot of like AI to do the project. You know, like ChatGPT and other AI programs and whatnot. And it got me thinking about like how kids are right now, like, because like I'm living life right now, right? But they're like people that are just starting life. They're in college, they're in school and whatnot, and the AI is coming out, and the teachers have to combat it and whatnot. But I was thinking to myself, like, feels to me that in a way AI is like the biggest equalizer of all, because I feel like if you're like an FD or terrible student and you start using AI and you start competing with the kids that get A's that don't use it as much, I was thinking like it hurts them a lot more. I don't know, right? Because it's like you could be the smartest kid ever, read all the books, and write an amazing essay. And then you could be the kid that doesn't know anything about the book, copy and paste the book into the ChatGPT or whatever, and then make it write a book report for you. And you can get the same grade as the kid that did read the book. And so I'm like, it hurts them a lot more. Or I have a buddy, and they just told me that their kid is gonna go to law school to become a lawyer. And back in the day, you would say, "Oh my God, that's amazing! Congrats to you! Like your kid's on the path, right? That's a good." But when I don't know why this time though, when I heard like, "Oh, my kid's going to school, they just gotta go to law school and whatnot," I thought to myself, I feel bad for your kid because AI is ripping through the law professionals like crazy, because lawyers are basically their skill is that they know how the law works, right? They know the rules. But over time, so does AI. You just enter in the laws and boom. I mean, do you remember when like AI first came out? In India, they started replacing judges with AI because to do the judgments, because the judgments are basically if you steal stuff, this is what your minimum sentence should be, right? And then you compound it with the other things, like each law you break has a amount of years you're supposed to serve, and then they basically puts them together and spits it out. Like, oh, you're gonna go to jail for 10 years because you did this and that, and that's a judge. The the lawyers have to kind of like fight against, and not fight against, but like work with. And I saw somewhere that they're gonna start having public defenders. They you can get a public defender AI now, like. So yeah, when I heard my buddy's kid was gonna become a lawyer, I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That you're gonna be paying all that moolah, or the kids gonna be paying all that moolah, spend all that time studying, and I'm pretty sure, I guarantee you, that kid is using ChatGPT or any of the AI systems out there to do all the law homework anyways. And then doctors definitely also getting hit. I think the other thing that's very funny about doctors is that they're also just as good as how much knowledge they carry. But you can only carry so much knowledge, you know? Have you ever been to the doctor's office and as you're walking in, you kind of look at all the other rooms that are in the doctor's office, and sometimes you see the doctor's office, and a lot of times what they're doing they're just Googling stuff to try to figure out what's wrong with you. That's actually, I feel like, maybe someone could correct me on this, but it feels like, like how the doctor's office, they make you wait there forever, even after you go into the room. They're like, the nurse comes out and she's like, oh, you can go to the room now, and they take your weight and blood pressure and do all that, the pre-checkup jazz. And again, someone could correct me. It feels like all that is just stalling fluff. It's just a way for them to stall you, so the doctor can have time to Google stuff. Because a lot of times it seems like the doctor doesn't even look at those readings. I don't know. Someone out there that knows more about the medical professional can say something about that. Where do the doctors even look at those charts and whatnot that the nurse does beforehand? Because a lot of times they ask the question while you're there, or they do the test again. And so, like with AI, I'm like, oh, that's what they're going to be using now. But if they are just going to use AI, then I could use AI. I don't know. How crazy is the future going to be, though? Because I have a little one, and I'm like wondering, like, how important is a lot of the stuff that they're learning right now? That's what I think about all the time, especially when I'm helping with homework. I'm like, yeah, this is great to know, but none of this seems very useful. It's like, how much of this do you really, really need to know when down the road they could just use some sort of AI bot to do all this jazz. I think that's always a fun thing, though. It is fun a little bit to go back to do your kids' homework and just to see between you and your partner, who remembers more of like the random math stuff that was taught that you don't use at all. Already I use the AI to do all kinds of stuff now. And it feels almost like just a cheaper way. Do you remember when you were going to school, there were those kids that sold essays, or you could buy an essay online and they just turned those in, and they would always get an F because they didn't bother to change it to make it their own. Okay, this is my tip for you guys out there. If you're gonna take the time to have AI do a book report or essay or something like that, can you just take the time to read it? Is it that hard? Is it that hard to just read it a little bit so you can change a few details to make it seem like, okay, here's a tip. If you're using ChatGPT to write an essay for you to turn in for school, please read the essay that ChatGPT comes out with, and if there's a word, any word, or any sentence that does not make sense to you, or you do not know, change it. It's like the most basic thing that you can possibly do. Um, like, because that's the easiest thing where the teacher comes out and is like, what is this word? And you're like, I don't know. I remember when I was in school, there was one time I wrote an essay and I used the word, to me, I feel like it's a pretty basic word, civilization, okay? And maybe because it's a really big word. And I think I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I used that word somewhere. And I used another word. And the teacher called me aside and said, it was like, oh, you know, like this was really good, but I don't feel like you wrote it. And I was like, what? Really? And it wasn't even, it was like a mid-A essay or something like that, right? But I guess for me, that was pretty good. And I was thinking to myself right away, I was like, really? If you're gonna cheat, wouldn't you try to go all the way? But anyways, the teacher started asking me about like different parts and what does it mean? What does that mean? And I just told her. And then I remember her asking me like, what does civilization mean? And I told her what it meant. And she was like, oh, okay. And I was thinking to myself, the only reason I know what it meant is because I was big in video games, and there's a game called Civilization, and then that's what that's where I learned everything from video games. So, boom. But anyways, take the time to read the essays or anything if your AI is doing it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I feel like it evens out the playing field a little bit. If you're dumb, AI is gonna like shoot you up. If you're already smart, it's gonna help you, but it's just a little bit. All right, that's it. I'm at where I'm supposed to be going. I'll see you guys later. Ah, boop. Ah, boop.